Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With permission, I'd like to update the House on the 3 recent trade deals we've struck in the national interest. But first, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say something about the horrific situation in Gaza, where the level of suffering, innocent children being bombed again, is utterly intolerable. Mr. Speaker, over the weekend we coordinated a response with our allies, as set out in my statement with President Macron and Prime Minister Carney last night. And I want to put on record today that we're horrified by the escalation from Israel. We repeat our demand for a ceasefire as the only way to free the hostages. We repeat our opposition to settlements in the West Bank. And we repeat our demand to massively scale up humanitarian assistance into Gaza. The recent announcement that Israel will allow a basic quantity of food into Gaza, a basic quantity, is totally and utterly inadequate. So we must coordinate our response, because this war has gone on for far too long. We cannot allow the people of Gaza to starve, and the Foreign Secretary will come to the House shortly to set out our response in detail. Mr. Speaker, let me turn now to the 3 deals this government has struck. The principles we took into the negotiations are clear and simple. Does it drive down bills? Does it drive up jobs? Does it strengthen our borders? And in each case, the answer is resoundingly yes. These deals release us from the tired arguments of the past and, as an independent sovereign nation, allow us to seize the opportunities of the future. A clear message sent across the globe that Britain is back on the world stage. Mr. Speaker, a trade deal with the world's fastest growing economy, India, cutting tariffs for British industries, a huge boost for our whisky and gin distilleries. Their only concern now, Mr. Speaker, is whether they can produce enough to sell. And for our car manufacturers, tariffs slashed from over 100% to just 10%, with no concessions on visas. A trade deal with the world's richest economy, the United States, slashing tariffs, saving thousands upon thousands of jobs in car manufacturing in places like JLR, protecting our steel and aluminium exports and safeguarding interests for our hugely important pharmaceutical sector. But, Mr. Speaker, I can already see that when it comes to this hat-trick of deals, it's our new partnership with the EU that they most want to talk about. And, Mr. Speaker, and given their abject failure to strike a deal with India or the US, I can't say I blame them. So let me spell out the benefits of this deal, which gives our country an unprecedented level of access to the EU market. Mr. Speaker, the best access of any nation outside the EU or EFTA. I will start with our security, because when Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine over 3 years ago now, the gauntlet was thrown down, and it's our responsibility to step up. That is what this world demands, and it's what this partnership delivers, strengthening our national security through our new security and defence partnership. Mr. Speaker, that paves the way for British defence firms to access the EU's €150 billion defence fund. That will support British jobs, British wages, British livelihoods. The partnership also increases cooperation on emissions trading, saving UK businesses from having to pay up to £800 million of EU carbon taxes, once again backing British businesses. The deal will drive down bills with increased cooperation on energy, because the agreement negotiated by the party opposite left us with a more expensive way of working with our neighbours, a needless rupture despite our grids being connected by underseas cables. This partnership brings those systems together again, benefiting British bill payers and boosting clean British power in the North Sea. Mr. Speaker, it also strengthens our borders, because again the previous deal left a huge gap, weakened our ability to work together to tackle illegal migration. the ultimate cross-border challenge. This partnership closes that gap, including joint work on returns, preventing channel crossings and working upstream in key source and transit countries, cooperating along the whole migration route to strengthen our hand in the fight against the vile smuggling gangs. It boosts our cooperation on law enforcement, Mr. Speaker, combating terrorism and serious organised crime, with closer operational work with agencies like Europol and better sharing of intelligence and data, including, for the first time, facial imaging. Mr. Speaker, it helps British holidaymakers because they will be able to use e-gates when they travel to Europe, ending those huge queues to passport control. And it delivers for our young people because we're now on a path towards a controlled youth experience scheme with firm caps on numbers and visa controls. A relationship we have with so many countries around the world, some actually even set up by the party opposite. We should be proud to give our young people that opportunity. And, Mr. Speaker, not for the first time, this government has delivered for Britain's steel industry, protecting our steel exports from new EU tariffs, backing our steel sector to the hilt. But last but certainly not least, Mr. Speaker, we have a new SBS deal, as promised in our manifesto, that will cut the price of the weekly shop, more money in the pockets of working people, less red tape for our exporters, no more lorry drivers queuing for 16 hours at the border with rotting food in the back, no more needless checks, the inevitable consequence of their policies that made it so much harder to trade, even within our own market, between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And, Mr. Speaker, that means that British goods that have long been off the menu in Europe can regain their true place, including shellfish, hugely important in Cornwall, Devon and Scotland. Because, Mr. Speaker, not only does our deal on fish provide stability, with no increase in the amount that EU vessels can catch in British waters, it also provides a new SBS agreement which slashes costs and red tape for our exports into the European market. We sell 70% of our seafood into that market. It is a huge opportunity which our £360 million investment in British fisheries will now look to export. Mr. Speaker, the reaction to this deal from business has been absolutely clear. Mr. Speaker, I know you're a stickler for time. I don't have time to run through the list of supportive quotes from businesses. But this... Fine. All right. But this new partnership...
It was great.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this new partnership has been backed. This isn't the full list. The Federation of Small Businesses, the CBI, the British Retail Consortium, Asda, Morrison's, Salmon Scotland, the Food and Drink Foundation, the British Chamber of Commerce, Ryanair, Vodafone, producers of meat, foil and poultry, and on it goes. And I wonder whether that long list of businesses coming out to support this deal will temper the reaction of the Leader of the Opposition in her response. But then again, for weeks now, she's been dismissive of the benefits of any trade deal, in defiance, frankly, of her party's history. But it's not just them, it's also the member for Clapton, who's not here, the member for Kingston, who've both shown in their own ways that their parties simply do not get that if your whole approach to our allies is about striking a pose, then you don't get to strike a deal. And, Mr. Speaker, what that means in a world like ours, where deals are ever more the currency of security and justice, is that you don't get to make a difference and you don't get to deliver for Britain. That is what this partnership means. And for years we were told it couldn't be done. What they meant was they couldn't do it. We were told that a deal with the US or India was impossible. What they meant was impossible for them. We were told that a choice must be made between the US and the EU. What they meant was they couldn't do a deal with both. Mr. Speaker, this government can and this government will, because we stay in the room, we fight for the national interest and we put the British people first. That is what these deals represent, a signal that we're back on the world stage, a global champion of free trade, playing our historic role on European security. But above all, making deals that put money in the pockets of working people. Because Because, Mr. Speaker, that is what